My idea of hell? I'm on a bus when I realize I left my headphones at home. Fuck. Because of this, I'm plagued by the itchy butthole of forgetfulness. I briefly accept my fate. This quickly erodes into pure, unfiltered, millennial disgust.
Oh my god.
Then, I kind of just accepted that it would suck.
All day, at every moment, I'll have no escape. No melodies, no refrains, no beats, no creative juice. Fuck. 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 Fuck.
Fuck.
Fuck. Fuck.
Fuck is right, son.
Fuck.
Then I realized, this isn't hell. It's just an opportunity to look at the world differently, to create art in a new way. Lean into it, dummy. Sorry. So what did I learn? Well, given that I'm a schmuck, not that much. You schmucked it up! But it did make me reflect on how routinely I insulate myself by easily fulfilling my every desire via the wonders of modern society. Food, knowledge, seemingly infinite entertainment, I can access any of that whenever I want. Uh-oh. So what does that do to my ability to tolerate unpleasantness? Ironically, it was the unpleasantness of forgetting my headphones that taught me that philosophy has real-world practical applications for addressing these issues. We just need to pay attention. Hey, pay attention. This is your life. Pay attention. This is your life, you stupid fuck.
Pay attention?
You want to pay attention here. Given the growth of philosophy via social media, podcasts, writers like Tim Ferriss and Ryan Holiday, it's likely that you've heard of Stoicism and this guy Seneca. He was a Roman philosopher and advisor to Emperor Nero. That guy. But despite being teabagged by philosophical wisdom via my algorithmically optimized social media feed, the truth is, it doesn't really work unless you do it. You can have maximum belief and buy-in, but if you don't have the how, which is implementation, then it doesn't really matter. Think about it. That's most of life. We all more or less know what's healthy. Where we fall short is on the implementation. So Seneca had this strategy of actively depriving ourselves of things we desire. This way it strengthens our resolve should any horrific things ever befall us. For example, you forget your headphones and you're on a bus headed to Manhattan.
Fuck.
I know. The idea is you prepare for war during times of peace, which is another way of saying don't wait till shit hits the fan to find out how bad your life can suck. Instead, we can actively participate in making our life suck. It's like practice for life sucking. Inevitably, there's going to be problems in life. If you can kind of simulate some of those concepts before it actually happens, you're in a much better position and more capable to deal with it should it ever arise. It's kind of like mental insurance. It's preparation, it's training, it's visualization, it's putting yourself in the position before you're there. It's projecting yourself into the future. You see athletes do this all the time. They practice those in-game situations. That way when they're there, in the moment, there's a 350-pound dude about to crush their skull. They know what to do. They're calm. Their muscle memory takes over. They just look around and they implement. That's the whole idea. You just have to see how it fits your life now in a 21st century modern way that gets you where you want to go, living the life that you want to live. That's why forgetting my headphones that day was such a concrete reminder that I can't just read about philosophy. I need to be actively engaged with it as a way of life. This is what Robert Henry meant when he said, The object isn't to make art, it's to live in that wonderful state that makes art inevitable. Unfortunately, what happens is we get so wrapped up in our own comforts, pleasures, and desires that we forget to appreciate the daily miracle of being alive. This raises the question, how much influence do my cravings and desires have on my life? Or stated another way, how easily and how often do I give in to cravings? It could be anything. Food, video games, social media, cigarettes, porn. When those urges come up, how do you feel? And more importantly, what do you do? In 1998, a team of psychologists wrote a paper called Ego Depletion. Is the active self a limited resource? Fascinatingly, it turns out that self-control and willpower is a limited quantity. To me, this is one of the most important psychological findings of the 20th century. Think about it. Once you know you have a limited quantity of fuel, you can then ask yourself the right questions to optimize that resource. Namely, how can I increase my self-control? Or, given my limited quantity of self-control, how can I best utilize it to achieve my desired outcomes? One thing you could do is have a heart-to-heart with ChatGPT and see what you learn. Or another easy option is the good old-fashioned index card. Personally, I like to use these little sketch pads to make mini billboards for my desk. Ooh, it's shiny. In this example, let's say I want to be more aware of my constant urge to listen to music. I can grab my sketch pad and write something like, music is great, so is silence. This week, spend 1 hour every day doing work with no music. Pay attention to how you feel and the quality of your work. Now obviously you want to tweak this to your own needs, but the idea is to reduce the amount of friction to adopting philosophy as a lifestyle. By having the billboard there, you increase the probability that you won't get stuck in that loop of fulfilling your every dumb desire. Instead, you can practice accepting that not having something sometimes sucks. Or maybe we'll see that life without something doesn't suck. We've just convinced ourselves that it does, or been convinced, or allowed ourselves to be convinced that we can't be happy without whatever that thing is. I mean, of course music makes life better. But sometimes just listening to the sounds of our life is just as pleasurable and important. I just want to make sure I don't forget that. For me, the cards are a great way of engaging with philosophy while not ignoring the realities of my human constraints, namely that self-control is limited. I've found that the billboard method works because it makes the entire process a lot more like surfing. You show up, you expend just the right amount of energy, you ride the wave.
Gnarly.
Anyway, if you're into topics like psychology, philosophy, or neuroscience, stick around. I'm going to be discussing a lot more of these ideas in future videos. In the meantime, if you have any cool information, questions, or just want to share what works for you, feel free to comment. You can also check out what else I'm up to on X, formerly Twitter, at @ChatTheseNuts. I write, I read, I create, I try to enjoy myself and make the most of my time while I'm on this beautiful planet. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time.